Travel Savvy and a Changing World. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast of The Ordinary Maverick. This is Ajay, your host, an ordinary maverick, sharing real life thoughts and experiences and maverick tips. Today's podcast centers around travel. Did I say travel? Okay, you heard it right. Yes. At one time, we didn't think about traveling. Just picked up your bags, your documents, and you went. But the pandemic and the last 18 months have changed this completely. Unprecedented global lockdowns, travel restrictions, pre departure checklists and tests, country specific rules, and not to mention continuously changing rules, one never knows what to expect. But things are changing. In an ever evolving context, travel is returning. Plans are being made in some parts of the world, and families are exploring how to get together after so many difficult months. A pandemic has exposed our vulnerabilities to globalization, and the freedom with which one traveled has in some ways been lost forever. But it's passing. I do believe we shall overcome and emerge stronger. And the free spirit, the curiosity that defines us, will return, including the urge to travel and explore. Well, I was no different and was lucky to have a family that was also travel mad. They say travel feeds the soul, but in our case, travel fed our happiness, our inspiration, and our very being. And of course, being a Maverick family, we always traveled with a Maverick bent, which means keeping the excitement, the exploration, the energy, and the economy, right? Very important to keep to a budget, and most importantly, going with your gut. Now, what do I mean by that? Have you all tried backpacking? There's nothing wrong with backpacking. It's just that we have never done this before. This is not common in countries where I grew up, and for sure, family backpacking is quite an experience altogether. Sharing ours from a trip in South Africa a few years back. We were a family with two teenage girls, and we really wanted to explore and see as much of the beautiful country as we could during our time there. We stumbled upon some brochures on backpacking, discussed, and jumped right into it. Going with your gut? Let's do it, we said, and set out on our first backpacking trip. We reached the backpackers' hostel, and believe me when I say we were the complete odd ones out. It took us some time, maybe just a few hours, and then settled right in. By the end of our 3 days stay, everyone knew us. We made lots of friends, we cooked, shared recipes, went on hikes together, and exchanged some great stories. It was truly one of our best holidays. And of course, that sealed it. We went on several backpacking trips after this one, and each one was special in its own way. However, guess what? When we shared this with our friends and family, we got all kinds of reactions. I mean, who goes and stays in backpackers? What about the safety, etc., etc.? But let me tell you, believe a maverick. Next time you travel, do something different. Stay someplace that you wouldn't generally stay. Explore like a local. There are so many resources today, and one must take time to do research thoroughly. That's where the Maverick formula comes in. Go with your gut, but also be true. And spend time and effort to fully understand and move forward. Let me also tell you, almost all the backpackers we stayed in have been located in the most beautiful, scenic places, have the most amazing attitude, and run the best tours with great guides and prizes, and almost all promote local employment and youth engagement. So you're kind of giving back to the local community at the same time as having a holiday. How good can this get? We have done many trips, possibly more than 100 for sure, across continents, and one thing is for sure, we do not do the run of the mill trips. And as we share our experiences, we are often asked, how do you manage to travel so much? Isn't it very expensive? Well, yes, it can be expensive for sure, but not always. Especially if one is ready to keep an open mind, is ready to invest time in researching and spending time in building an itinerary. That's another tip, the itinerary. Very important to build one with as many details as possible. And that's a skill. Find out in your family who has that skill and then let them take over. For us, it's my wife. We have a bucket list for travel. Well, let me be honest. She is the travel mad person and has influenced all our travels and given us the bug too. That reminds me of one of our crazy, memorable trip to the Amazon. You know, we hear about the Amazon and the word conjures up images of the most picturesque yet mysterious scenery. Well, for our trip, the Maverick bent came into play. No standard tours for us. Although, when I look back, we did take some risks. But what a lifetime of a holiday. Imagine doing all the bookings halfway across the world, reaching out to someone online and going with your gut and building the itinerary. Well, the result? An unforgettable river cruise on the Amazon River with just us on the top deck of a boat with a small crew, captain, two helpers, tour guide, and a cook. We sailed off into the Amazon, no cell phone connections, into the silence, and we were completely cut off for 4 days. Saw the most amazing sights, had the best experiences. Oh, yes, imagine experiencing sailing in the pitch of darkness and hunting alligators by torchlight, holding the live alligator and then leaving it into the wild again. And then there was piranha fishing. Their teeth are so sharp and strong that when they actually bite, it almost sounds like, two metal sheets clanging to each other. Oh my gosh. And something to definitely experience are the stunning Amazon sunrises and sunsets. Simply incredible. So, here are some tips for traveling with a Maverick bent. First, think of the place you're traveling to or desire to travel. Second, do your research. Find out as much as you can through the internet, talking to people, reading books, and getting to know the place even before you travel. And then, three, stay local. Find a backpacker, find a local guest house. If on a safari, stay at the camp and connect with the locals. That's the only way to really get travel to feed your mind, your heart, and your soul. And you know what? Another tip, when you plan your travel to a city, any place, think what comes first to your mind about that place and then dig deep. Find something that is not that obvious. When you do visit the city, definitely see what's famous there, but then also see the not so obvious stuff for that city. You will discover something new each time. We've always done it and never ever been disappointed. Let's see. When one says Goa, the beautiful coastal city in India, what comes to mind? Beaches, right? Well, we went to Goa and discovered the spice farms, the ancient temples, the backwaters bird sanctuary, sailing in canoes and seeing the most beautiful birds. Another quick one. How many have heard of the Devil's Pool at Victoria Falls in Africa? Definitely not for the faint hearted. And more about that in another episode. And what about the absolute amazing fully vegetarian restaurant in Hong Kong? Or the blackwater tubing in the Sisikama forest and the surfing at Coffee Bay? Well, Try it. The next time you are traveling, use some of the Maverick tips and see how it turns out. One never knows unless one tries. One travels for so many reasons: work, fun, holidays. We travel alone, with family, with friends, colleagues. Truly, the last century saw the biggest changes in travel, and then 2020 changed it all. Now is the time to revisit the thought of traveling and look around ourselves. Maybe it's just a quick weekend trip within our same environment, the same state, the same country. But keeping the maverick bent, the spirit of exploration, is what will make the difference. Discover something new in the very place you've always lived. May the joy of discovery always stay alive in us. Write in your comments, share your feedback. I would love to hear from you. And for some more Maverick tips, do subscribe to the Ordinary Maverick podcast. This is Ajay signing off, wishing you have an amazing day. Keep well, stay safe.